Well, g'day fishers, welcome to our Easter fishery report. And I'll tell you what, if you've got 4 days off and you plan to go fishing, you have bagged the weather. It is sensational all weekend by the looks of it. Can't get a better weather report for Easter. It's astonishing, to be honest. But make the most of it, make the most of the weather. The temperatures, the whole lot, and into early next week looks really good. So if you're on holidays, even better. I think the next week looks sensational. Anyway, moving on to the fishery report, a lot to talk about today, plenty of fish, and it's looking sensational, like I said. So, beginning with the bay is still tenant stained, I should say, but that's okay. The push-in tide, there's lots of bait in the bay. There's a few pelagics in the bay, some really nice tailor, some kilo plus tailor, and also some bonito and Watson's leaping bonito. Feeding on really small white bait, so my suggestion is don't troll for them. What you want to do is get the 5 to 10 gram armory anchovies, which we have in store, and cast those at the school, and you have some great fun, especially with the kids. But just remember, just come up on those schools nice and quiet, big long cast, and away you go. Don't need a big rod, 6 to 8 pound braid, 7 foot rod, away you go. Whatever you use for your Brim and flatties, that's all you need for the tailor and bonito. So worth a shot, especially in those incoming tides earlier in the morning, which we have all weekend. So that'll be ideal. Get out on the water early. Still some good flatties around. Spoke to Paul from Fishport Stevens Estuary Charters. He's been some cracker flatheads still around. With that water, it's obviously pushed them down the lower half of the estuary. Around the other side there at the shortcut tea gardens, there's fishing really well. Along Jimmy's Beach, we'll fish really well for flatties this weekend. Any of those smaller beaches. But the key to it, lots of people around. Get up early and give it a crack, that's for sure. This time of year, with that water being that colour, I like to slow roll some pillies, or some of our local brine herring. Just that, obviously, that scent of that bait will get the fish moving, but also some brighter soft plastics and also in paddle tails for your flatties, so that'll do really well. Brim, a few nice brim around as well. Wayne Cole's been fishing up towards the back of Soldiers Point, fishing the oyster racks and the rock walls up there, throwing plastics and hard bodies into really nice fish up to 40 centimetres. So the brim has started to congregate already around those rock walls and oyster racks, so definitely worth a shot on those. The breakwell's been fishing okay. A few snapper down there, around about 60 centimetres. So if you're keen on floating a bait on the incoming tide, I reckon you might get a nice little snapper or even a few brim down that way as well. Still some whiting around, water's still warm, so plenty of whiting. We've got a hell of a lot of live worms in for this weekend. So if you're keen on doing that, chase a few whiting, especially a feed for Good Friday, that is for sure. And if you want to put the crab traps in, there are a few mud crabs around and a few blue swimmers. Despite that water, it's not too bad crabbing this time of year. So that's a bit of a nutshell inside the bay at the moment. I wouldn't be surprised to get a mulloway lead up to the full moon, so give that a crack as well, especially around the rock wall here in Nelson Bay. Be worth a shot for a mulloway this weekend. Moving on to the beaches. Fingal Bay is absolutely going off. It is sensational. A lot of our customers have been fishing there this week with our live worms, but also our local preserve worms, which is a little bit of a secret on those, but they've been fishing really well. Plenty of brim up along Fingal Beach, a few whiting, a couple of salmon turning up, some really nice flatties. I saw a photo there of a really nice flatty caught up the spit of 80 centimetres, so definitely worth fishing Fingal this weekend. I think Samurai would be worth a shot as well. The way the weather is, 1 mile, virtually all the beaches are worth a shot. Hopefully they open up Berrubian this weekend. National Parks, I'm not sure what's going on there, but just check on the National Parks website just to see if you can get down the beach. They have had it closed with the big seas at the moment, but the beach is definitely worth a shot. Even if you want to have a bit of a drive over the northern beaches there, over to Bennett's Beach, it'd be worth a shot over there. And I wouldn't be surprised if you catch a mulloway with those building tides after dark. Be definitely worth a shot for a mulloway this weekend, 100%. It's probably the best time of year, Easter into May, to catch a big mulloway off the beach. When I mean a big one, anything 15 kilos plus off the beach. And after all those floods, I'm assuming there's going to be a few on the beaches and in the gutters at the moment. Now, on the rock scene, some really nice snap around off the rocks this week. Saw some photos and really nice fish caught around Boulder Bay down to Boat Harbour. One particular fish about 8 kilos off the rocks. That's absolute beauty. So if you're keen on snapper fishing after that swell, definitely worth a shot this weekend, throwing a few baits into the washers. We will have fresh squid this weekend, so definitely worth getting those and throwing those into the washers at the moment. A couple of longtails off Tomaree, even though the water's dirty. Bait is hard to get, but you can get yakkers, and they will eat yakkers, no problems at all. It's just a little bit of a shark problem there at the moment, so when you hook a tuna, go hard or go home, otherwise it will get eaten by a whale or a bull shark at this time of year. But anyway, enough on that, because people want to go swimming on the beaches, don't they? So don't worry about the sharks too much. So bread and butter species off the rocks at the moment, so plenty of tailor, a few bonito mixed in, and a couple of salmon. So if you're keen on having a spin, you might get a long tail on a metal as well, or a stick bait. So rocks will fish really well this weekend. On the offshore scene, now the local reef systems around the islands has just been sensational. The amount of photos that I've received of cobia this week, I reckon at least one a day. Some standout fish, Adam Polly, now an absolute beauty, 25 kilos, absolute stonker of a fish. Glenn caught 2 on soft plastics around that 8 to 10 kilo mark solo, so doing really well to land a cobia solo. Also, plenty of snapper around, lots and lots of snappers, some really nice fish in the shallows for this time of year. I actually weighed one on Sunday, 9.7 kilos for Brian Pilley. He tried to release that fish actually, but Baratron got the best of it. But it'll make a really nice feed for Good Friday. So plenty of snap around, some nice trag on the reefs as well. So there's plenty of bait around those deeper reefs, not in the shallows. Bait is hard to find in the shallows around the islands. Concentrate on those deeper reefs like the V and the 21. There has been bait there. So definitely worth a fish this weekend on our local reefs in the washes. I reckon you're going to catch cobia. I reckon you're going to catch snapper. There's been a few kingies around, so fishing's just red hot at the moment. On the shelf, as far as marlin's concerned, a little bit of current out there at the moment, so it's going to make things a little bit difficult, but it's a day-to-day proposition, and the old story is, if you don't go and have a look, you'll never know. So this is the weekend if you want to go and chase a few fish on the shelf. Definitely the weekend to do it with the weather. If the current is running, I suggest just going past that current, maybe 5 miles over the shelf, and you might find a few blue marlin out in that better water as well by looks at the altimetry charts at the moment. So that's it in a nutshell. Well, it's not a bad report, pretty big report this week, but the fishing is red hot. We are open all weekend, Good Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So if you need any bait, whatever you need, we are open to cater for your fishing needs. Anyway, have a good Easter, and we'll speak next week.